Afghanistan now over, there is new evidence that we aren't any safer than we were 20 years ago. Good evening, I'm Leland Vittert. America faces two great challenges tonight. 20 years ago, when we went to bed on September 10th, little did we know how the world would change and what would happen in the morning. New reporting from Holly McKay in Afghanistan says the Taliban is now training and recruiting suicide bombers. We're going to get to that reporting in just a minute. But first, to the immediate debate here in America. The fight of how to deal with COVID is no longer just a medical or a political debate, but it is very much now a legal debate. Here's President Biden today promising to take on 19 Republican governors who dare challenge his executive decrees, forcing 100 million Americans to get the vaccine or face unemployment.
Are calling your vaccine requirements an overreach? You are threatening to challenge it in court.
Have at it.
My friend Mike Allen of Axios, hardly an alarmist, writes in his morning note this: one big thing, America's civil war of 2021. Top Republicans are calling for a public uprising to protest President Biden's broad vaccine mandates 8 months after more than 500 people stormed the U.S. Capitol to try and overturn the election. There is near universal agreement that the president has the power to force vaccines on virtually all Americans. But his new decrees that require companies with more than 100 employees require the vaccine is right now facing some stiff legal challenges. Brian Weinthal litigates these issues. He's an attorney with Burke Warren, who specializes in employment law. Good to see you, Brian. Appreciate it. All right.
Good to see you.
Why do these Republican governors, or for that matter, some of your clients, have a chance here?
Well, ultimately, I think it's going to be difficult for many of those Republican governors to make a case because in all 50 of our states, there are currently requirements for children to be vaccinated against various diseases, be it mumps, rubella, measles, chickenpox, you name it. So ultimately, while many of these Republican governors are crying foul at the president, they're doing so under the knowledge and acknowledgement that they have vaccine mandates in place already in their own states.
They have these vaccine mandates, but specific to this of using OSHA and workplace safety to try and get at this and sort of do an end run around. In fact, the White House chief of staff retweeted this tweet. This is the White House's workaround to get Americans vaccinated. This could impact 80 million people, requiring all these businesses that have any sort of contract with the federal government. This is going to be a game changer. Ron Klain, the White House chief of staff, then retweeted this. This does seem, though, sort of an end run around vaccinating children using the OSHA standards.
Undoubtedly, there's going to be a major debate here about the use of executive power. And that's really what's at the heart of this. The question becomes whether the executive branch using OSHA can put something like this in place that has consequences for employers, specifically costs. As I'm sure you saw, employers are supposed to provide paid leave to their workforces, not only for vaccination, but for the aftermath.
And also, if the employees aren't vaccinated, then they have to get testing, and the employers have to pay for that. It does seem like an interesting workaround here because it's not the federal government mandating it. That's more of a political question than a legal one.
Well, but the upshot is most businesses that are forced to incur costs are going to turn around and look at the federal government, I think, for reimbursement on those costs. Think about the situation where the government takes your land for a certain purpose. They're required to provide compensation for that. Many workforces that have upwards of tens of thousands of employees that have to pay for paid time off are now going to say to the government, well, this was your mandate. Where's our reimbursement for what it is we paid for?
Where's our money? All right. Well, this is Jen Psaki explaining their goals. Take a listen.
75% of people in this country have been vaccinated, who are eligible have been vaccinated. 25% have not. So that's what our target is. That's what our objective is. No, our goal is not to place undue burden. Our goal is to save lives, and that's what we hope this will do.
Note she didn't say, and we'll reimburse you. But if an employer calls you today and says, look, we don't want to have a vaccine mandate, and we don't want to pay for testing, what's your advice?
I would say for the moment, let's wait and see what the regulations look like. I'm not certain that we're going to see these regulations come into print. And the reason I say that is there are so many presumptive legal challenges that could be asserted here. It might be the case that the Biden administration is putting that in place to see what response they get. In other words, to see if anybody goes and gets vaccinated in advance. I don't know if that will occur.
Or if employers just say, hey, look, it's going to be too expensive and too much of a pain, we're going to put a vaccine mandate in rather than deal with it.
Well, exactly. If the writing is on the wall that this is coming down the pike anyway, both employees and employers might say to themselves, let's just go and get the shot, because ultimately we don't have to deal with the aftermath of the penalties that may come from bucking the trend if the policy is put in place.
And we have to make a distinction here between the federal employees, because that's pretty much settled. The federal employees have to get this or they lose their jobs. But for private employers, it's different. It does bring up a question, though. It seems as though, as president, he had wide-ranging powers to demand lots of other vaccine mandates, to get on an airplane, perhaps, or to get federal benefits. There were all these other things that would have been much more coercive that he didn't do that would have been legally a lot sounder. Fair?
I think it's fair, and I think the other thing that I'm surprised he didn't do was to tie the receipt of federal monies to vaccine mandates. For example, we know that educational money is one of the biggest spends for the government.
And highway funds.
And highway funds. What I thought he was going to do is stand on the stage and say, for any educational institutions that are getting federal money, you must now, going forward, have a vaccine mandate in place. He didn't. He came out and made a direct mandate to private business, which was actually a surprise.
Which one would have been legally easier to uphold?
Almost unconditionally, the idea of tying something to funds would have been easier to uphold, because if you're giving someone something, you can put conditions on what it takes to get that.
You're a smart lawyer. It seems as though probably there's some even smarter lawyers or equally smart lawyers at the White House.
I can tell you there are smarter lawyers out there.
Fair enough.
That is for sure.
You said it, not me. But it makes you feel as though they knew this and therefore decided to go this OSHA route for a political reason, not a legal one.
I have to imagine that part of this was President Biden pushing back hard on these Republican governors that are simply making it difficult to get even basic safety measures in place, mask wearing, things of that nature. I have to believe that in putting something this strenuous and strengthful in place, that ultimately that was the goal here, to push back on that and show them that he was controlling the narrative, not them.
All right. Hey, Brian, really appreciate the insights. Thank you.
Always great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you. I know you got a long weekend of work ahead and more as the mandates come down. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, it is already September 11th in Afghanistan. The sun's going to rise in Kabul just a couple of hours from now. The Taliban reported